Hi everyone. So I last night had the pleasure of going to watch the Conjuring: The Last Rites, and as you can see, I'm a big Conjuring fan. Where is she? It's there. I'm a big Conjuring fan. I love these movies. I think they're fantastic movies. I watched them with my preteen kids, and we all have a good time watching them. And I especially love the second one. I really love the second one. I don't know if it's because it's set in England. I don't know. Maybe it's a home field feeling about it, but it's a phenomenal little horror films. They're not obviously the deepest, scariest horror movies, not like The Thing or anything, or Terrifying, or anything like that. But these are sort of like family horror films, if you would. Like they're not. There's a few moments that are quite graphic, but anyway. So yeah, the Last Rites is a great film. I watched it last night, and I'll be honest with you, I was going to that cinema shattered. The show was at 7 o'clock, so it started about 7:30 after trailers, etc. And I was absolutely shattered because the night before my stepson, he had been very ill and he'd been sick a bit. I've had to sort of deal with that and the clean up job of that in the middle of the night. I then had to sort other stuff out. Woke up early because my wife's going to work early in the morning, so I kind of woke up with her as well. So I've had like lack of sleep going into this screening. So I was kind of just like, oh, come on, please be good, please keep me awake. And from start to finish, I was like, this movie, this is brilliant. I was like, oh. So I was in the movie straight away, like. So this film, it's kind of a story of like two stories going at the same time that kind of like merge. So you've got these two, almost like two roads travelling along. So you've got the Warren story and the Schmall family story. And they're kind of like this, and they sort of like at the end of the movie. So the third act is them two stories coming together and then the big craziness happening. So we'll get onto the Warrens, because the Warrens are kind of the important part of this story. This is their final case that they did. So this was the sort of the retirement case, the thing that stopped them from doing it. But it's kind of isn't the reason they stopped from doing it, because obviously Ed Warren, as we know from the previous films, he's had heart problems, so he's kind of physically not able to do these things anymore. We've got Lorraine, who's kind of just like fearing for her husband, so she doesn't want to do it anymore. So they've taken like a back burner to the investigation stuff. They're still doing like the lectures and the talks and all that stuff, but they're not actively investigating anymore. And it was really good to see them, because you sort of get the nicer side of their family, because they're kind of away from the dodgy stuff. Lorraine's still getting her visions and seeing stuff, but it's kind of like that. And the whole story is basically focusing around their daughter and how she has the same sort of abilities as her mum does when it comes to the sort of psychic-y stuff. So that's the story we follow with them. And then we've got the Small family, which is the other side of the other road of the story that we've been told. And they're in another part of America, and they are moving into a house. The house is haunted. They move into a house. The daughter gets a present, which is this big mirror. And after she receives the mirror, all hell breaks loose in the house. So the hauntings start off small, but gradually gets worse and worse and worse. And there is some terrifying. This haunting, the Small family haunting in this movie, whether you believe it's a true story or not, visually in this movie, I think this is the most physically violent of the hauntings, like the most physical intent. Like, I love the second Conjuring movie. I think that's the best one out of all the Conjuring universe. But it's more creepy, atmospheric, and stuff happening. This one, it's like these people are kind of in danger from pretty early on in the start of these hauntings. So this mirror is like causing havoc in this house, and it's putting them in danger. It's physical danger. Whereas the previous film is kind of like, there is some physical elements, but it's not as physically dangerous as this one. So that's saying it's shocking. So we've got that going. So now, I will tell you now, this video will contain spoilers. So I'm going to spoil the ending of the movie for you. And we're going to have a few spoilers of things that happen in the movie as we go on. So I just want you to know now that there will be spoilers in this movie. So please, if you haven't seen the movie, stop the video now. Go, and you don't want to spoil that. Stop the movie now. Stop the video now, go watch the movie, come back later, and we'll continue this on then. If you don't care about spoilers, if you stay around, or if you've seen the movie and you just kind of want to know what I'm thinking of it, if you agree and stuff, stick around, we'll keep going. So yeah, so this is the story of, sort of, I said, we'll go back to Lorraine and Ed Warren sort of side of it. So the daughter is now grown up, and we know that from the previous films as well, she's kind of got that sense the same way her mum does. She's met someone who's this nice lad who is played, and I was like sitting there, oh my god, by a former Peter Bill actor from EastEnders. So if you don't know, EastEnders is a very, very popular British soap opera, and it's like one of our main mega shows that's sort of on like 4 times a week, and everyone watches it. He played a character called Peter Bill in it, son of Ian Bill, for a while. It's been played with different actors, but I remember he was one in particular. And then he went on to play the drummer in Queen in the Bohemian Rhapsody movie as well. So he's getting himself out there in Hollywood. I think he might have been in an X-Men film as well. But he's definitely getting himself out there in Hollywood, which is great. I love seeing like a homegrown talent sort of like make it big, if you know what I mean. So that's brilliant that he's in it. And he's quite likeable. He's a very likeable character in it. So he's basically the boyfriend coming to life. He knows about the creepiness of the Warrens because they're famous, the Warrens, basically. So he knows that the daughter's connection. And he also knows she senses things, and he's kind of with her on it. And he's basically, they're going to a party. It's Ed's birthday, and they're going to a party, and he kind of wants to propose to the girl. And it's one of my favourite scenes in this movie is that him asking Ed and Lorraine's permission, because it leads to a proposal where he's asking permission and Lorraine's all for it, and Ed just like, no, it's too soon, it's only been 6 months, what is wrong with you? And then you sit like the guy says he bought it like after a week of knowing her, he bought the ring, and he's just like, and Ed's like, that's weird. And he's really sort of against it. He basically shoots him down to sort of like, no, it's not time yet. And the guy kind of accepts that he's not been given the permission, he's not got the blessing. And he's like, okay, I'll do it again in another month. And it's like a month, like, he's like, I'll ask again, I'll ask you guys again, I'm not going to do it now. And he shows Ed and Lorraine the ring. So the ring's there. It's quite a distinctive looking ring as well. And of course, that's when the daughter walks in, sees the ring, and is like, oh, like that. The ring drops on the floor because he panics to try and get rid of, like, hide it. And she sees it on the floor. He goes down sort of on the floor, like one knee, to pick up the ring. And she's like, oh my God. And he just looks at Ed like, oh my God, what do I do? And Ed just looks down at him, sees the reaction of the daughter and how happy the daughter is that he's down there. And he just looks at him, gives him that sort of the nod, like, okay, do it. And the guy smiles and he's like, thank you, like, does the proposal, and it's all happy. And you're like, it's such a touching, genuine, like, moment. It was a real family-based, great moment. And I thought it was a good scene to have in this horror movie. It's a fantastic, quite comical, and it's just a good scene. And the Conjuring does well. They do these little, it's not an all that horror comedy sort of thing, but they have these little comical moments. A lot of it's Ed based usually, these little comical moments that kind of lift you a little bit in the movie. And this is one of those moments. So we also find out that the daughter, Lorraine basically finds out that she's been having the visions her mum has, but they're coming more now she's older. And that Lorraine taught a little poem nursery rhyme thing to help her block these spirits from coming in, sort of like block them out. And she does this whenever she sees stuff. She's seen a really good scene in a restaurant where she's sitting there, so Lorraine sort of senses something, and the daughter's sensing it, and the daughter starts saying the nursery rhyme like under her breath over and over again, and Lorraine sort of clocked it, and Lorraine sort of does the same thing to block out for herself as well. And you suddenly see his hand sort of like kind of like crawl like down the back of her, down the back of the daughter, and Lorraine's like, oh crap. And you get a few more. There's like a really good scene in like the bridal, where she's trying a bride's dress, and she's like, I don't know what, it's the creepiest bridal trying on of a dress I've ever seen. It's like you walk in a room just surrounded by mirrors. Like, I don't know, I've never been in a bride's dress shop before, but I'm pretty sure you don't have a creepy hall of mirrors thing around you. But that's around it, and then you get this creepy sort of old woman appearing like a vision thing, and then it's saying attacks her through the window and stuff like that. So it's actually in the trailer. I think it's in the trailer, that scene. So it's kind of like she's got her powers and she can't stop them now. She can't sort of like block them out like she used to. And I love that as well, because it's sort of like gearing up for a new generation. So then we get into Small Family, and this is horrific. So you've got the kids are kind of like, they noticed a few weird stuff happening, like when she gets what they call, is it confirmation, religious confirmation, the girl gets, and then the grandparents gift her this creepy mirror, and they give her a cake, a confirmation cake. It's got like a candle in it, and she goes to blow the candle out like you do a birthday cake, goes to blow the candle out, and someone goes and blows it out before she gets a chance. So she blames her sister straight away, as kids do, blame the sister, and says, I didn't do it, like, sort of thing. And then the hauntings get worse. And they basically, they're in a room one day. The two older sisters are in a room. They're looking at the mirror and they're like, that thing's creepy, I don't like it. So the two girls decide to throw it away. Get the mirror and take it down to where the sort of bins are. The bin men come and collect it and chuck it in the back of the thing, and it gets crushed. as this is happening, also great bin men, because if that wouldn't happen, they'll be like, no, that stays there. You take it to your dump yourself, you lazy sod. They would not put that in our bins in the UK. They'll be like, no, it's not in the proper bin. You ain't. That's staying where it is. Great American bin men. I really wish we could go back to that. Well, that was in the 80s, so in the 80s you could do that. But anyway, so the mirror gets chucked in the back of a bin lorry. It gets crushed. As it's being crushed, the older daughter is sitting at the breakfast table, and she starts and she throws up. Now, bear in mind what happened to me the night before with my son throwing up in the bedroom. I didn't need to see this again. She starts throwing up, and then she's throwing up blood, and there's glass coming out of things. She swallowed glass. So it's obviously the mirror. And Ed had kind of said, before this happened, we went back to the Warrens again, Ed had said to some people about the stuff in the house, you can't destroy some of the objects. And if you do, sometimes things get worse. And of course, they destroy this mirror. The hauntings go up. There's the scene you saw in the trailer with the doll that gets picked up. And there's a scary woman sort of holding the doll. That's still creepy in the movie. You know, you knew it was coming because you've seen it in the trailer. It was still creepy in the movie. And there's a lot of scenes like that where you sort of, they do that clever thing, the James Wan thing, where it's sort of, there's a shadow and there's nothing there. Suddenly there's something in the shadow. And again, that is brilliant. It really is like some brilliant scenes, that are creepy scenes with this. There's one with just like a cupboard, and the mum's on one of the old phones with the swirly wire connector thing. She's like chatting away on that, and he gets pulled into the cupboard. And she thinks it's the girls in the cupboard, like hiding, because you see a scene with that earlier. And then the phone gets yanked out of her hand, and she's like, girls, come on. Goes to turn the light on, and there's no one in the cupboard. And it's like, oh, who the hell just pulled that? And you've got the dad of the family that kind of doesn't believe in any of this stuff. He knows the family's saying it's happening, but he doesn't know it's not happened to him. And when it finally happens to him, that is a scene that we go, oh, there's a couple of scenes that do the old, because it's James Wan's Conjuring. There are jump scares in this movie. Not as many as the previous movies are full. He kind of eased off them and went again more for atmosphere in this one in some of the situations, and just full on, that's scary. That face is scary. So James Wan, he's kind of like doing what he does best, basically. And we get these scenes, like there's a scene that comes later with Annabelle rocking to and fro into shadow. So you sort of see her face sort of come out, and then it goes back into shadow, come out, back into shadow. And I was waiting for something else to go, Rah! It doesn't happen, but I've spent so much like going, I was waiting for it. Didn't happen. It's when the daughter's sort of having a vision, because sort of she had a connection with Annabelle in the previous film, so she hates that doll. And they even say it later in the movie where the young girl's like, do you like dolls? She's like, nope. Because the daughter remembers Annabelle from the past. So there's a lot of scenes like that in this film where and they do a thing where the camera turns around, and it's almost like there's a delay in your brain when you see something. And it's worked really well in the movie The Signs, the Mel Gibson movie. And that famous scene where there's like where Joaquin Phoenix watching the telly, there's a party on in the telly, like a video camera footage of the alien that pops out from behind the bush. It walks out, you see it, register it, then you're scared. And you go, like that. It's like and this film does that. So the camera will sort of pan, and it will use the name. So it will pan, and you'll see her, but you'll register it like, oh, it's something there, whoa! And then you realise what you're looking at. It's that sort of thing. So it's there for a few seconds before you've registered what you're looking at. And they do it really well, especially when the dad when he gets levitated, scene where he gets levitated above the bed. It pins round, and through the bedpost, it's like, yeah, grinning, evil-looking face looking at him. So we go back to that, and the link between the two stories, so the Warren story and the Small story, is the priest. So the priest that's been in the previous Conjuring films. He's found out about the Small family, goes to investigate, and while he's there, realizes this is a messed up house, and has to get out. He throws holy water down. The holy water starts like evaporating and burning up almost. He realizes it's bad, goes out, goes to the church, and has this paranormal event in the church, and ends up like being convinced or manipulated to kill himself. The Warrens then find this out. The daughter is distraught because she was raised with this priest as a massive part of their family. She's distraught, so the Warrens' daughter is now sort of looking into it, and that's how she finds out about the Small family herself. And she goes to see the Small family, and we get these really good moments leading up to this where Ed is bonding quite a lot with his son-in-law, his future son-in-law. They bond over like a motorbike, and we find some things about the son-in-law that used to be a copper. And there was a moment in his life when he decided not to be a copper, was when he went to a dispute, like one of these domestic disputes, knocked on the door, opened the door, and someone put a shotgun to his head, and he heard the click, and the bullet didn't go off. He managed to like he unfroze, grabbed the guy, put him down, arrested him, and all that stuff. And then his friend said, you should be dead. So when they looked at the gun had fired and it had live bullets in it, but somehow it hadn't fired, it hadn't misfired, but it hadn't worked. Even though it clicked, it hadn't gone, and the bullet somehow got stuck in the chamber. And his friend said, you should be dead. And he said that from that day he literally realised that there's another life out there where he doesn't exist because he should be dead, and he never would have married the daughter, he never would have had kids in the future, never would have done anything that he'd normally do in the future. His life would have been gone. And that he literally quit the force the next day, went out and bought the ring for the daughter, because he was like, he had like a moment, and quit the force. And Ed kind of like, he gets that, because it's sort of like he's family first. I think that bond that gets to Ed a bit, and he's like, he likes this. That's the bond he has, like what he felt at the time. So there's like a lot of bonding with them. They bond over a motorbike as well and stuff like that. So it's a real nice story. But this family building up, and I have theories on this. And I'm going to do a video soon about my theories on where this is going, because I don't think this is to me, this is not the last Conjuring. And James Warner said this is the end of phase 1 of the Conjuring. There's more coming, and I have a massive theory on what they're going to do, and I'm going to do a video about that later. But yeah, so we've now got a sort of like the priest died, the daughter's upset about it. She then goes to the small house. Lorraine has had a few visions about her daughter, and he's like, something's not right. And then when the son comes over and says, look, she's gone to this house, Lorraine's like, get in the car, we're going. And they head to the house. And this is where we get our climax of our movie, our big ending of the movie. They all turn up at the house, and Lorraine gets in there. She does her normal sort of walk around, sees this shit going on, wants to leave straight away over the door. Says, we don't want to be a part of this, we just want to go. And the daughter convinced him, no, we have to help these people. They need our help, because they are struggling, these people. These people have been through hell because of this ghost stuff. One bit, axe murdering psychopath in the house trying to chop her up. And that scene reminded me of some things that have gone through with me. So there is a scene where it was like, this is a tension building scene, and I've been where this girl is. So you're watching a video, back in day with VCRs, right? She's watching a video of the party. She knows she saw something happen at that the party where she blew out the candle in the cake. So we go back to the cake with the candle. And she's watching the video back. And there's like a flash. As she goes to blow the candle out, there's a flash and the candle gets blown out. She's like, what was that? So she's rewinding the tape, stopping it. But she keeps missing it because it's back in the day with tapes. Us older people, we know. You'd fast forward, you press stop, and you might miss the point you're at. Then you've got to rewind again, play again, and hope to press pause at the right time. And she keeps missing that pause button at the right time. Not like now, you sort of move your finger across the little bar at the bottom, you can find the bit. This was like, stop, play, stop, rewind. It was like that. So she's there with the control, keeps skipping it, keeps missing it. And it's kind of building, because you're getting closer into the screen, you're kind of getting, oh my God, here it comes. We're going to see something, you know, something's going to jump out to that sort of moment. And she's like, and she finally stops at the right point. And as she's about to blow out the candle in the cake in the video, there's a face next to her. And you're like, whoa. And with that, scary thing comes down the stairs. It's this Marilyn Manson from the 90s looking guy, and he's got an axe, and he's trying to lob the axe at her and stuff like that. So they've been through some horrific stuff, this family. So Ed and Lorraine decide, you know, we're going to do it, we're going to stop it. And they go through what they normally do, the exorcism stuff they normally do. And there's one scene in this movie which I wish they had have cut out, where the daughter's upstairs and she starts to get these vision things, and then there's an Annabelle doll rocking, or sitting down in the room. It's back to her, and it gets up and starts contorting and gets bigger and bigger and bigger until it becomes a giant Annabelle doll, and you sort of get the giant face coming in. And I thought it looked kind of silly, and it took me out of the movie. A lot more stuff happens in this house while they're doing the exorcism stuff. It really gets. I don't really go do too deep into it. So that's my dog whimpering. Wants to come out of his cage. If I let you out, you're gonna be good. So I've had to let my dog. He's a puppy. He's been in a cage. We put him in there just while he's having a little something to eat, just to calm him down a little bit. But now he's out, so he might bound onto me in a minute. So anyway, yes. So the movie. Where are we up to now? Yeah. So at the end of the movie. So Lorraine works out this is the mirror that she saw before. It's all connected to the daughter. The thing wants the daughter. The daughter ends up getting like possessed and all goes mental. But the day's saved it. I don't want to get too much into the end of the movie. But the end of the movie, I liked the way they sort of solved the problem at the end. There's a scene the mirror turns out to be a demon. The actual mirror itself is demonic, and it's using the ghosts of people that died in the house previously as the haunting apparitions that we keep seeing. Like the old woman, there's an old woman ghost, there's a young girl ghost, and there's the guy with the axe. It turns out years ago the guy found out his wife was having an affair. An axe murdered the wife and the wife's mum, and that's the ghost, the spirits that this demonic mirror has been using to manipulate the family, scare the family, in order to draw in daughter Warren. So the daughter's now possessed. She goes upstairs. She's basically going to hang herself and kill herself. Ed, Lorraine, they all go up to save her. They go crashing through the ceiling, and the mirror then goes on the attack. So the mirror itself comes alive, basically starts spinning around and starts charging towards them all. The son-in-law, who's kind of like heroic, he's on the floor, and it sort of crushes and breaks his leg, and it sort of ends up on his throat. It's sort of crushing him, and it's moving forward towards the Warrens. So he's getting dragged by the sort of this by his throat, being choked. Ed's trying to hold the mirror back but can't. The daughter is now unpossessed, and she's trying to sort of block it all out. And Lorraine goes up, she says, "Don't block it out. We need to bring it all in. We need to fight this thing." So then Lorraine and the daughter sort of hold their hands against the mirror as well, and they start pushing back, and the mirror starts to crack until eventually, boom, they defeat the demon, save the son-in-law who's still being choked out. That was, oh, I feel sorry for that guy in that scene. He's basically got a mirror stuck on his neck for the whole scene. He's got to act like he's been dragged along. Poor guy, like EastEnders Peter Bill. Poor guy. He didn't have that in EastEnders. So gets saved, and then we get sort of the end of the movie, which is, it's a lovely ending to this movie. So you get the wedding, and I get this. There's a moment that took me out of it. I'll get on. So you get the end of the movie is a wedding, and the son and daughter are getting married. Lorraine and that are at the wedding, and you see the people at the wedding. It's people from the previous Conjuring movie, so like the science guys that sort of helped him out in number 2 and such, and the family from the first film are there watching the wedding, which we understand. The bit that took me out of the movie is when you see the Enfield family are at the wedding, and I was like, there's no way that family could afford plane tickets from London to wherever the hell the Warrens live. No way they can afford plane tickets, because they were a very poor family. Very, very poor. Like, Enfield at the time was a very poor place to live, and that family themselves had nothing. They had no money, they had nothing. So there's no way they were like, anyway, to get married, let's get on a plane and go over there. Wouldn't have happened. Not a chance in hell. So I was like, it took me out a little bit when I saw them, but it was nice, because it culminates the film. So all these adventures we've had, everyone's here to celebrate that the daughter's getting married and all that stuff like that. So it is nice, you know. And then you get Lorraine tells Ed she's had a vision, and it's them growing old. It's basically what happened in real life. They grew old together. They stopped doing the investigation, started like doing it all by phone call and talking to people. And then Ed died. Like the grandchildren are going to start coming over and seeing us, and we're going to have like a lot of grandkids and then great grandkids, and we're going to seal this, and it's all going to be good, and it's going to be loving, and it's a lovely story. It really is. From a dog's now getting onto me. If the camera goes, because this dog's an idiot. It's a lovely ending to the story. It's a really sweet ending, and then you get sort of like a little epilogue, like of what happened to the Warrens, like how Ed Warren died of a heart attack, and then Lorraine Warren died when she was older, and they do a nice little bit where, if you believe it or not, like in the story or not, if you believe the Warren story or not, it's still like one of the most like phenomenal paranormal sort of stories of all time, and how it kind of changed what paranormal investigations were, and they were kind of leading in that world of paranormal investigation and paranormal sort of like forensics, I suppose. So it was a good like little ending to it, and a nice little nod to who they really were. And then you get like doing all the country films to see the real people and all that stuff, and it was a great end to the film. And then you get that last moment sort of where Ed goes down into his like creepy room with the son-in-law, and this is where my theory, and you'll see that in a future video, Ed goes down with the son-in-law, and he's talking about that he's in the room, the room, you know, and he's got the mirror in the room, and he's got like Annabelle's in the room, the painting of the nuns in the room, and all the other stuff, the freaky samurai guy and all that sort of stuff. It's all in this room, and he's looking around with the son, and he walks past the Annabelle, and he looks at the steps. The son-in-law looks at Annabelle, and then Ed's got the keys to lock the room, and he's like, he stops, looks at him, he looks at the guy, and he's like, hands him to him and says like, "You're part of the family now, you can lock up," sort of thing. And Ed smiles. Again, this is where my theories come from. So the next video I hopefully do will be where I think the Conjuring is going. So if you subscribe to the channel, notifications, all that, the next video I do is gonna be where I think this franchise is going, my theories, and I'm pretty sure I'm right. And I said a lot of what I was going to say in the video. I said when I saw the trailer for this film, I was like, I think I know what they're going to do. And then I know that what's his name, James Wan, the creator of it all, he said this is only the end of phase 1, and I know what phase 2 is. I don't know, because obviously I don't know them. I haven't asked anyone. No one's told me, but I have this strong psychic premonition that I know where this is going and what they're going to do with it, and I'm all aboard. If it's what I think, I'm really aboard for it. So you have to wait for the next video to see that one. My dog's getting a bit carried away. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this review, I suppose, of The Conjuring. It is a good film. Again, if you haven't watched it, I haven't spoiled too much, but it is a fantastic film, and I really enjoyed it. And so get yourself to cinema and watch it. If you've seen it already, let me know in the comments what you thought. Did you like how they ended it? Did you think they could have ended it a different way, better way, worse way? What elements of the film, what bits took you out? Because I said the giant Annabelle doll took me out of the movie a little bit. And I was like, I would have personally left that scene out. And seeing the Enfield people at the end and realising there's no way they could afford to get to that wedding kind of like took me out a bit. The rest of it I thought was pretty good. The scares were good. I like they toned down that jump scare, loud noise, jump scare more than they had in previous films. So that's my dog knocking the phone. Oh, he's gonna go. The phone might fall over. My camera's gonna go. It's this stupid bloody dog. Look at him. Right. But yeah. So yes. So did you think that maybe they toned it down a bit more than last time? It wasn't as jump scare like it has been in the past. It was a little bit more tolerable. And that and it's just a life. Did you think it was a nice story? It had that kind of like family movie vibe in places, like, you know, just a general nice family movie. So let me know what you think of it. Let me know your thoughts and feelings and all that. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon for that next one I'm going to do, if this dog doesn't stop jumping all over me. Cheers, guys. Thank you very much. Bye bye.